to a load of arson attacks. Chuck Schumer couldn't bring himself to condemn it. Will you condemn the arson attacks on Tesla? Yes or no?
Let me explain why people are turning to these means. The reason people are attacking Tesla.
You can't do it, can you? You cannot do it.
I don't think you should.
It's actually fascinating.
Literally, what do you want me to say?
It's fascinating.
The exact language. I don't condemn people going out.
Well, let me ask you this. Then. Do you condemn the arson attack on Governor Josh Shapiro's residence? Yes or no?
Well, of course I don't think people should arson attack people's residences.
Of course, because he's a Democrat governor. Now you can find it in yourself to condemn an arson attack because it involves an attack on a Democrat. But when it's an arson attack on Tesla forecourts, they could have killed people. You don't care. It's the system. And by the way, you understand why people don't like Elon Musk. You've literally exposed yourself in the most priceless manner imaginable.
He's investigating what they're calling a targeted attack on a Tesla repair center in Las Vegas. This dramatic video showing multiple cars in flames. According to authorities, the suspected arson occurred early this morning. When police arrived, they found 5 vehicles set on fire or damaged, and the word resist spray painted on the front of the business.
We believe the suspect approached the business wearing all black clothing, and he used what appeared to be Molotov cocktails and a firearm to conduct his attack.
Just hours before in Kansas City, 2 Tesla Cybertrucks set ablaze at a dealership there. Tonight, the FBI stepping in to help local police investigate both incidents.
To those who might think that something like this is justifiable or potentially even admirable, we want to let you know it's a federal crime. We will come after you.
While authorities say the identities of the suspects and the motivation behind the attacks are still unknown, it comes amid at least 16 reports of vandalism to Tesla vehicles and dealerships across the country as people nationwide protest Tesla CEO Elon Musk and his prominent role in the Trump administration.
We're out here because we're defending democracy.
President Trump sending a warning to those who vandalize Tesla property.
You do it to Tesla and you do it to any company, we're going to catch you and you're going to go through hell.
Tesla stock seeing a sharp drop, down more than 40% this year. Tonight, Musk reposting the video from Las Vegas, calling the incident terrorism.
This type of violence is not okay. This kind of violence is becoming far too common in our society. And I don't give a damn if it's coming from one particular side or the other, directed at one particular party or another, or one particular person or another. It is not okay. And it has to stop. We have to be better than this. And we have a responsibility to all be better. Second, if this individual was trying to deter me from doing my job as your governor, rest assured I will find a way to work even harder than I was just yesterday for the good people of Pennsylvania. Here's a third truth. If he was trying to terrorize our family, our friends, the Jewish community who joined us for a Passover Seder in that room last night, hear me on this. We celebrated our faith last night proudly, and in a few hours we will celebrate our second Seder of Passover again proudly. No one will deter me or my family or any Pennsylvanian from celebrating their faith openly and proudly.
Tongue hanging out his mouth and shit. He was most definitely connected to BLM, ladies and gentlemen. Most definitely connected to BLM.
Tonight, the man accused of setting fire to the Pennsylvania governor's mansion over the weekend will remain in jail. A judge deemed Cody Balmer a danger to the community and denied him bail during a brief hearing this evening. Monday night, I'm Shari Williams. Rick has the night off. The big story on Action News tonight is the firebombing of Governor Josh Shapiro's home in Harrisburg. It happened while he and his family were asleep upstairs. Well, these are the scorched remnants of the mansion's piano and dining room after 2 homemade Molotov cocktails were reportedly used Sunday morning. Tonight, we are learning more about the 38-year-old suspect. Balmer is charged with attempted murder and terrorism. He's unemployed, has a few nonviolent criminal convictions, and when Balmer was arrested, authorities say he told police he had hatred toward Governor Shapiro. Action News reporter Caroline Goggin.
So this had nothing to do with his religion, faith. Dude just didn't like Shapiro, man. He just didn't like him. That shit wasn't cool, though. I don't condone violence towards anyone, especially family. You understand me? That man was in the house with his family, man, and friends. You know what I mean? That shit ain't cool.
A lot to unpack here tonight as we continue to learn more about that suspect, Cody Balmer. According to ABC News, he was dealing with financial issues, and they say he was also dealing with allegations that he assaulted his estranged wife and children. In fact, he was due in court this Wednesday to face charges stemming from those domestic assault allegations.
Cody Balmer remained silent as he was brought into a Dauphin County court. Cody Balmer remained silent as he was brought into a Dauphin County courtroom this evening. The 38-year-old is facing several charges, including attempted murder, arson, and domestic terrorism. He is accused of breaking into the governor's mansion and firebombing the residence as Governor Shapiro and his family slept inside.
This was a personal attack on the governor of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
Harrisburg's fire chief says they were called to the fire just after 2 a.m. Sunday. The governor and his family were safely evacuated as fire crews forced entry into the home. They were met by fire in the dining room, where the governor's family and friends held a Passover Seder just hours earlier.
When we look at the fire grew fairly quickly because it was accelerated by those Molotov cocktails that were used in the firebombing.
State police say Balmer, who turned himself in, admitted to tossing Molotov cocktails into the residence. According to an affidavit, he told investigators he hated the governor, saying if he encountered him in the home, he would have beaten him with his hammer.
He brought all the tools he needed to carry this out. We are proceeding under the basis that this was an intentional, this was an attempt to kill.
Sources say Balmer had previously expressed disdain for Democrats and President Trump on social media. He
loved putting his tongue out his mouth. He's gonna be doing that a lot in the penitentiaries in Pennsylvania. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we can't blame this on King Trump because he had hatred in his heart for King Trump too. So, wow.
Democrats and President Trump on social media. He is described as an auto mechanic in the Harrisburg area. According to ABC News, Balmer served 8 years as an Army reservist, repairing construction equipment, but he was never deployed.
Now, Balmer told the judge today that he is not dealing with any type of mental illness, but sources tell ABC News that investigators are still looking into that. Balmer was denied bail in court today. He is due back in court for another hearing next Wednesday, April 23rd.
5% chance it is a far left lunatic. It is an extremist, okay, who is committing the act of violence, regardless of if it's against Democrats or Republicans, because the far leftists don't like Democrats or Republicans, and that seemed to fit the description of this quote-unquote registered socialist BLM supporter, Cody Balmer, who has been charged with arson of the Pennsylvania governor's mansion. Josh Shapiro, who just happens to be Jewish. And we all know how much the left dislikes people who they see as supporters of Israel. Okay, this is part of the reason why Kamala Harris did not pick Josh Shapiro, because of his faith and the fact that his faith may turn off the far left base, right? This is why he wasn't picked to be Kamala Harris's VP running mate, even though I think Josh Shapiro kind of didn't really want to be Kamala's running mate, right? I think that he knows that he dodged a bullet, okay, by not being associated with the dumpster fire of the last administration, because he is one of the very few Democrats that people say has a chance to actually, I don't know, be a sane Democrat, right? But I highly doubt it. Regardless, I want to go ahead and play this clip from CNN explaining governor's mansion and a little bit about the suspect. That this story is going to be one of those stories that conveniently goes away when the liberal media figures out that this guy is not a Trump supporter, right? When they figure out the motive doesn't really have anything to do with Trump, right? That this guy likely is a far leftist, which is what the evidence points to as of right now. Again, I just have a feeling that you're not going to hear too much about this story moving forward into the future. Because again, there are strong signs that this guy was one of these far left lunatics that thought the Democrat Party wasn't far left enough, which again is hard to imagine, but they're out there. Okay, like I believe the lunatic that attacked Paul Pelosi, he was one of these people that believed that the Democrat Party was not far left enough, okay? And these people happen to be prone to violence, and I think that this is just a continuation of Democrats condoning political violence in this country, okay? I think that is what's happening here. So let's go ahead and get into this. The man whom authorities have said set fire to Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro's home while he and his family were sleeping at 2 a.m. has said to be a registered socialist and has shared support from the Black Lives Matter movement. Cody Balmer has been arrested and charged with terrorism, attempted murder, and aggravated arson after Shapiro's home was torched while his family slept over the weekend. Per the Associated Press, Shapiro and his family were able to escape without injuries. The fire was extinguished by first responders after the family escaped the burning home. Yeah, so I think it goes without saying. Fascinating about this story is the fact that now all of a sudden Democrats and the liberal media, they want to condemn political violence, right? But for the past 2 to 3 months, we've witnessed arson, political violence, terrorism, vandalism, harassment from left-wing extremists, and Democrats like Josh Shapiro had nothing to say about it. Now all of a sudden Josh Shapiro's like, oh, we must condemn this, which, you know, hey, I do condemn it. I think it's bad, right? That happened. But again, my question is, where was Josh Shapiro when it came to all of the acts of terrorism against Tesla, right? When they were shooting up Tesla dealerships, and I'm pretty sure this stuff has happened in this state as well too. Where was he? Where was his leadership when it was happening to the other side, right? Now, to give him credit, he did speak out after President Trump's assassination attempt, but a lot of people did, right? That's an easy one, okay? That's an easy one because it would just look really bad to not condemn political violence when you have the president almost getting his head blown off at a rally, right? But when it comes to the more difficult things to condemn, okay, like, again, for example, the BLM rioters, the Antifa rioters, the Roe v. Wade rioters, the pro-Palestine rioters, and the Elon Musk rioters, Democrats don't have anything to say. Right? They look the other way. But as soon as something happens to them, now all of a sudden they want people to condemn violence. People should be concerned about political violence when it happens to a Democrat. Again, it's amazing how that works. Absolutely amazing how that works. But ultimately, at the end of the day, what people got to understand is that this is happening because the left and the Democrat Party, they have normalized political violence because they have refused to condemn political violence and to crack down on the extremists that are very prevalent on the left. This is why you're seeing this stuff. Again, you have people like Taylor Lorenz, who is a far leftist, openly worshiping and idolizing murderers, right? This is what they're doing, okay? Because they think that violence is okay. They think violence is okay to achieve political goals. And they tell you this, right? They make it very clear. This is exactly what they think. Like, for example, listen to how Taylor Lorenz responds in his interview with Piers Morgan, who is going to expose her hypocrisy on this issue of political violence.
He didn't bring himself to condemn the attacks on Tesla in terms of Tesla forecourts and Tesla drivers and so on. Would you unreservedly condemn all the attacks on Tesla?
Was I just on this? I think I was just on this program literally like a week ago talking about this topic. I don't think vandalizing a car is equivalent to taking a human life. Has anybody been murdered in pursuit of...
I just asked you if you condemn the violence against Tesla.
Well, I guess if somebody was to murder a Tesla owner, yeah, I would condemn that. I think that's terrible and unproductive.
So it's only murder you care about. You don't care about any other crimes.
Well, she doesn't care about that because, again, she worships a murderer.
Hilarious to see these millionaire media pundits on TV clutching their pearls about someone standing a murderer when this is the United States of America, as if we don't lionize criminals, as if we don't have, we don't stand murderers of all sorts, and we give them Netflix shows. There's a huge disconnect between the narratives and angles that sort of mainstream media pushes and what the American public feels. And you see that in moments like this. And I can tell you, I saw the biggest audience growth that I've ever seen because people were like, oh, some journalist is actually speaking to the anger that we feel.
The women who gather outside court in New York.
So you're going to see women especially that feel like, oh my God, right? Like here's this man who's revolutionary, who's famous, who's handsome, who's young, who's smart. He's a person that seems this morally good man, which is hard to find.
Yeah, I just realized women will literally date an assassin before they swipe right on me. That's where we are. I'm sure you wouldn't like to be compared to a Trump supporter, but some of how people cannot understand why people have sympathies for Mangione strikes me as the same as a lot of media not understanding why people support Trump.
I totally agree.
It's because a lot of people are just really, really desperate.
They want somebody to take on the system. They want somebody to tear down these barbaric establishment institutions.
Hi, my name is Alina, and
to take on the system. They want somebody to tear down these barbaric establishment institutions.
Yeah, so that's the type of mindset that these extremists have, and there's no doubt in my mind that mindset is a similar mindset that the guy who set Governor Shapiro's mansion on fire, he has that same similar mindset, just based off social media posts, because these people think violence is justified to achieve political goals. This is what they believe, right? They believe in violent revolution. They're communist, okay? They're communists. That is what they believe in, okay? And that's what people need to understand. This is why when the United CEO was assassinated, I said, listen, people should not be celebrating this, okay? I understand people are upset with the healthcare system, but celebrating the assassination of a CEO, even though you might not like the guy, okay? You might not feel bad about it. That's okay too, but you should be celebrating, okay? You should not be normalizing it because that leads this country to a very, very, very dark place, and it emboldens these individuals. Clearly, you can see that it's getting worse, right, in regards to the extremism on the left, right, and what they're willing to do to achieve their political goals, okay? And they will do mental gymnastics to justify doing whatever, right, in order to achieve what they want. And again, it's very clear that that's how these people think.
It's fine, is it?
Well, no, I didn't say that.
It's fine?
I literally didn't say that.
So would you condemn... So do you condemn the arson? Do you condemn the arson attacks on Tesla? Yes or no?
That's ridiculous. Do I condemn what?
Why do you find this funny?
Because these are just absurd questions. I was literally just on this program.
Tesla's literally being subjected Tesla has been subjected to a load of arson attacks. Chuck Schumer couldn't bring himself to condemn it. Will you condemn the arson attacks on Tesla? Yes or no?
Let me explain why people are turning to these means. The reason people are attacking Tesla.
You can't do it, can you? You cannot do it.
I don't think you should. I don't think you should.
It's actually fascinating.
Literally, what do you want me to say, Pierce?
It's fascinating.
The exact language. I don't condemn people going out.
Well, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this then. Do you condemn the arson attack on Governor Josh Shapiro's residence? Yes or no?
Well, of course I don't think people should arson attack people's residences.
Of course, because he's a Democrat governor.
You see how that works? That was an excellent job by Pierce. It's really that easy.
Set it right
because
up.
these people are such hypocrites.
Idiots. Right.
Do you condemn arson against Tesla? What do you mean, do I condemn it? What are you talking about? Right? It's a simple yes or no question. Right? A normal sane person would say, yes, I condemn it. I don't support that. Can't say it. Do you condemn arson against Josh Shapiro, a Democrat? His mansion, okay? Yeah, of course. Of course I do. Right? Again, you see how that works? These people have no shame. Yeah, of course. Of course I do. Right? Again, you see how that works? These people have no shame. I'm telling you guys, the Democrat Party has fostered extremism in this country that they are not even aware of how dangerous it is. Okay? And they only want to say something about it when it affects them.
Right.
But they're the ones
when it come to their
that created this monster. Yep. They created this monster. Ones that created this monster. They created this monster.
Now you can find it in yourself to condemn an arson attack because it involves an attack on a Democrat. But when it's an arson attack on Tesla forecourts that could have killed people, you don't care. It's the system. And by the way, you understand why people don't like Elon Musk. You've literally exposed yourself in the most priceless manner imaginable.
Yeah, again,
in yourself to condemn an arson attack because it involves an attack on a Democrat. But when it's an arson attack on Tesla forecourts that could have killed people, you don't care. It's the system. And by the way, you understand why people don't like Elon Musk. You've literally exposed yourself in the most priceless manner imaginable.
Yeah, again, this woman is so... Oh, my God. The governor's mansion is an object. In the same way a Tesla is an object. The fact that she just can't come out here and just unequivocally condemn both, right, at the same time, it just tells you everything you need to know.
Teslas are cars. By the way, again, you are ignoring the fact that one of the biggest memes
there were Tesla human beings working at the areas where they got arson attacked.
Pardon?
Yeah, the truth is you make a political calculation about what you condemn and what you don't condemn. That's the truth.
I don't know. You're obsessed with this condemnation thing. I'm trying to get you to understand why people are turning to violence.
Yeah, I really am.
They feel like Elon. Then try to understand this, Piers. The reason that people are firebombing Teslas or whatever they're doing is because they feel like Elon Musk has been sort of taken over parts of the government as an unelected billionaire, and they feel that there is no recourse within.
Are you justifying it again?
Yeah, that's exactly.
No, I'm trying to explain to you why this is happening, which is essential if we want to stop violence, if we want to have a less violent country.
Why do you think Governor Shapiro's? Why do you think Governor Shapiro's residence was firebombed? Do you think there may be some reason why the person did it, which can explain it, which means you don't have to condemn it? No, you just immediately condemned it without knowing any of the motivation for why that person did it.
If you want fewer firebombs at people's residences and you want fewer assassination attempts in America and you want less gun violence, you need to understand why people are feeling the way they do and why they're taking the actions that they do. We're in, again, Donnie's special on CNN, Misinfo Nation, does an excellent job of breaking down extremism and how people across the political spectrum feel disenfranchised and are turning to violence. So I encourage everyone to watch Donnie's special, Misinfo Nation on CNN. It's a great...
Across the political spectrum. No, it's just Democrats.